Welcome to 253. I'm your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Ms. and Jeff. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, apparently you would pick it up because I have hard times names. No disrespect. But the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something, and at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. But you should never give up, and you should prove to people you can still amount to something. That being said, it's going to be 25 minutes or a half hour of your time. Say anything you want, talk about anything you want. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, my name is Jacinth, and I'm a model, actress, producer. Most importantly, I'm a mom. I have two beautiful children, Genesis Sutphin and Jaden Sutphin. So they're a gift from God.
No, absolutely. And it's always great to have kids.
Yeah.
You carry on your name and the whole next generation.
It's definitely an honor and a privilege to be their earthly mother.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
need them while I'm here on the earth.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is who influenced you to start your career? I know we're going to do a special short interview. Who influenced you to start your career, and how many years have you been acting?
I've only been acting now for 3 years, and who influenced me to start my career? I pretty much started doing performing arts in like school since like middle school, and I was a performing arts major where we did a lot of shows, talent shows at the school. I even did a lot of performance in church, so a lot of my background came from church. Doing like plays and things of that in church, and I've just always had that drive to entertain and to be an artist. And within my early 20s is when I'm like, okay, you know what? I can really see myself doing this as a profession, and I'm going to do it as a profession. Because oftentimes we have dreams, but we just don't see it being possible or don't think it can come true. So I've always seen myself as an artist, but didn't know if it was possible for me to make it a career due to the current circumstances I was going through in my life at that time. And when I was in my 20s, and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna step out on faith, and I'm gonna pursue acting, and I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a passion for something, you should work on it every day, and
Yeah.
it gets better and better. When a door
Amen.
doesn't open for you, you should make your own door.
Exactly. Or kick it down, go through the back door, go through the window, something.
It's like there's a little saying from Suits. Mike was having a hard time. Harvey, if, for anyone who likes Suits, is on the USA Network. Harvey says, "What do you do when you're against the wall?" And Mike's like, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "Knock it." I'm bustering it. He said, "What do you do when you're up against the wall?" And it says, "You knock it down. You knock the whole thing down," or something like that. I have to look up the saying again. But like you said, just climb that wall. It does say just knock it down and say whatever walls or labels or barriers you put around me, I'm gonna show you, like the doors, you can break onto the other side.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Now, for your acting career,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, it's okay.
For your acting career, where do you see yourself going? You want more voiceovers, behind the scenes, being a lead star, main star?
I do see myself um being doing more TV and film. I started out doing theater, and I know it's a beautiful thing. I like the instant gratification, but I know theater is a lot of work, and sometimes with the hectic rehearsal schedule and tech rehearsals and all of that, it can be very hard to do TV and film. So I've just decided to just strictly branch off into TV and film. Not saying, hey, if someone hits me over the Broadway role, I wouldn't take it. But until then, my focus is TV and film. I am also going into being a producer as well. So far, I've produced one film, which fortunately we were able to travel to many countries with it, which is called Diary of a Bad Man. I was able to get it a theatrical release in the Grand Cayman Island and also in Jamaica. And we traveled to London, Canada, sold out shows. We even sold out in New York City, Times Square, AMC. So for my first go round as a producer, I would say I'm very fortunate and very blessed to have that opportunity, so many opportunities and so many doors open for the first film that I produced and also played the lead in as Detective Simone Williams. So now I see the power and how important it is to really put out great content and how it is to really produce your own film. And that's what I want to do. I want to produce my own film. And also my first love is acting, so producing acting in it.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of different actors out there that write and even star in their own films. I think, trying to think off the top of my head, I think one of the actors that come to mind was LL Cool J. He writes his own stuff and he's in it.
Yeah.
I think the guy from Grimm does that too. Actually, yeah, the guy who does Nick, who plays Nick, actually directs some of the episodes, and he stars in it. Obviously, he's in the show. And there's like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith writes and directs his own shows and films, and he plays Silent Bob in it. So basically, if you're very talented about wearing different hats, you should show them you can do different things.
Absolutely. And yep, I do feel like being a producer, you just have more control of putting out great work and great content, and that's what I love. With just being an actress is great. I've booked many, leading lady roles, but as an actress, it's like once I do the job and I bring it on set and we're finished, we're done shooting, my job is done, and I help promote, and that's pretty much it. But I don't really have any control over the project. I've done many projects that went nowhere. And oftentimes, a lot of people don't understand when you're first starting out in this industry and you have no credit and no reel and no exposure, you're working for little to nothing. And a lot of time, you're going to do a lot of stuff where you're not getting compensated. They're giving you a credit and a meal. A credit can't pay me my bills, but that's just the nature of the game. That's just the nature of the beast. And that's how the business is for the most part. When you first starting out, you're getting little to nothing. And I say that to say this: you're not really getting compensated, and the project goes nowhere. So I just look at that as a waste of time. I put a lot of work into this role, and because it's not my work, it's not my film, I'm not producing it. I have no control over what happens to the film after we're wrapped. So the film goes nowhere. They just sit on it, don't do anything with it. It doesn't. So as an actress, that sucks. I put all that work in, and it's like no one will ever see it. Will it ever see the light of the day? So a lot of learning experience, and I always tell people it's a tough business to get into, but it's a beautiful thing. You definitely have to be passionate for this business, and to make it in this business, you have to have passion and determination and drive.
No, I agree with you, and that's the same thing for me. When I first started my talk show, I used to take people at their word, and and that bit me in the ass. But now, when people do the interview, you're an example of that. Once you sign that permission form, it's basically a done deal. But if people want me to re-edit it or change things around, that's fine. But once they sign the form, that's it. You gotta stand by the work, regardless of how it is. And basically, since I did that, everything's been going on pretty good, knock on wood. It looks more professional. Before we did the interview today, I was just going back to all my episodes on YouTube, and it just had, just numbers. But now I'm going back and saying, okay, someone wants to say, why does it start from 54 and then there's a number 54? So why is there two 54s? Now I'm going back and re-editing it, saying 54, season 1, 54, and then season 2, 54. But, as the numbers are going up, 0 to 100, then 100 to 200. So, to make a long story short, as the numbers are going up, common sense should tell you that those are different seasons. The numbers are not going up just because they're going up, but they're just telling you, say if episode it's like 200, it's like, oh well, I guess 200 must be, season 3 or the point is if the numbers go up, it shows you, but you're doing something right.
Right.
So the next question I was gonna ask you is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And also, I was going to ask you, does social media play a part in your acting career, or do you think it can make you or break you?
Oh man, it sucks that social media plays a huge part in the acting, but that's what people are looking at. People, numbers. People are driven by numbers in this market. They want to know, what is your following like? What is your social media handle? Because they want to probably see, if they book you for a role, will you promote the film? And according to the followers that you have, they watch whatever work you put out. So social media definitely plays a big role in the entertainment and in many industries. It sucks, but it does. And yeah, you can find me on if on Facebook. Sorry, it's Jacinth, JACINTH SUT. On Instagram, it's the same thing at Jacinth SUT. My website is iamjacinth.net or .com. That's iamjacinth JACINTH.com, or you can Google me. I'm Googleable, Jacinth. So, yeah.
It's kind of funny you mentioned Google, and I was thinking more like Yahoo, because I was curious, because now for my talk show, it's been doing like the whole 4-year mark. I'm wondering, I was curious what my name would come up as, and then when you type in KeithAndrewNetwork.com, and again, there's no S, KeithAndrewNetwork.com, it's really funny that you see all my episodes come up. And it little variations, maybe like one or so picture pops, I almost said putts, pops up, but it basically, it's interesting. When the question I was going to ask you is, because you're a bigger star than I am, because I know I have a year ahead of you.
I object. You're definitely the bigger star than I am. You put a lot of work. You're in like episode 200 and something.
Well, I know, there's a year or so difference. We've been doing this for 3 years. I've been doing this for 4. And so, for an example, say about how do you get your pictures on there? Say if you look me up, Keith Andrew Network, there's 1 or 2 pictures. But when people look you up, there's hundreds and hundreds. So do people upload pictures of you, or do you do that yourself? Or how do you get yourself out there more? And does that help?
A lot of the pictures that's on Google are from my website or my Facebook, or people that did articles on me from social media. They're all, whenever someone Google your name, it should automatically come up. So I don't know. A lot of them came from my social media. And like you said, if someone put my name in for a project, it will come up as well.
It's funny you mentioned, wrapping up our short interview, is how many people, because you've been doing this for 3 years, during that time, how many times were you actually interviewed, like on, say, I don't know, Fox News, CNN, mainstream programs, and how many times have people written articles about you?
I don't really keep count. I just do my job, and I appreciate the love and support. And if someone wants to write an article on me, great. I think for me the biggest highlight was being covered by the Huffington Post. I would say that's the biggest one, and then being covered by having my first Getty image. That Getty image and Wire are probably the top two. When they show up at your event, it's a good event.
You know,
But yeah, I don't really keep track. I don't. Yeah, I don't really keep track of things like that. I just appreciate it, and I'm in the moment when I'm working and I'm promoting and I'm traveling for something, and they write up reviews about, you know, the show, post reviews or pre reviews of the premieres or whatever. I just, it's great. I'll post it and I'll keep it moving. I don't dwell on it or keep track.
yeah, I agree.
Is that something I should keep track of? I don't know. I never thought about that.
Well, for me, I have it on my website. I was interviewed by Mark Maloney, so that's one. I was going back in 2014. It was the day after Christmas. Then I was interviewed about 2014 or 15. That was my second time on L.A. Cooper. And so that was about 2014. So 14 was busy because I got two interviews back to back. One person was nice enough. Her son was disformed, and he had a disease. And she took an interest in me, so she wrote an article about me. It's floating around on LinkedIn.
Wow.
And so that's one article. And it's pretty much. Oh, and Bay Ragmate interviewed me as well for Total Driven Radio. So, it's getting around, with people are slowly recognizing what I do and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a blessing and that's an honor. And to have your craft or whatever it is that you do be appreciated by someone else that's a blessing, to be asked to be interviewed. Or thank you also for having me on your show. I really, really appreciate it. I'm humbled and I'm honored and I'm grateful to share my testimony or to share how I got started and where I am now with everyone. If I can inspire or uplift or encourage even just one person by this interview, I did my job.
No, absolutely. I'm the same way. Now, I know you said you wanted to do this short interview, and now about wrapping up, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. And usually I do like a year and a half follow-up because I like to give it time in advance. So more things happen for you and a lot of things happen for me. So it's you don't want to do like on an every month basis. Then it's like, oh, what do you want to talk about? Oh, we talked about this last time. So you want to give it some time so you see progress.
Exactly.
But wrapping up our interview segment, it's a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part two.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.